Welcome to Knowledge is Random. Today, we tune the dial back to the first radio, beyond streaming, beyond satellites, beyond even the telephone, back to a fragile signal in the static. To the first moment a human voice slipped free from breath and wire, and travelled farther than anyone believed possible. To the instant distance began to dissolve, and the world, for the first time, could listen together. For most of human history, if you wanted to be heard, you had to be physically present. A voice could only travel as far as breath would carry it. Beyond that, silence. Distance meant isolation, and isolation meant limitation, until one day, a human voice crossed an ocean, without wires, without ships, without moving at all. Before radio, communication moved at the speed of transport, on foot, on horseback, by ship. Even the fastest message could take days. Then came electricity, invisible energy flowing through copper wire. The telegraph transformed distance into pulses, dots, dashes, code. It was revolutionary, but it was not sound. It was not the human voice. It was not presence. In 1876, the telephone changed that. For the first time, voices travelled electrically, but they were still confined, chained to wires, limited to point-to-point connection. One voice, one listener. Distance was shrinking, but it was not yet free. The ambition grew. What if we could send the human voice itself through the air? In 1895, an Italian inventor began experimenting with electromagnetic waves, Guglielmo Marconi. He believed signals could travel beyond the horizon. Many scientists doubted him. They believed the curvature of the Earth would block transmission. But in 1901, in Newfoundland, a receiver captured 3 faint clicks, the letter S, sent across the Atlantic from England. More than 3,000 kilometers, no wires. The signal had bent beyond the horizon, the impossible had occurred, but this was still code, still pulses, still abstraction. The next step would be more profound. In 1906, Canadian inventor Reginald Fessenden conducted what is often described as the first radio broadcast of voice and music. On Christmas Eve, ships expecting coded transmissions heard something else. A violin, a passage from the Bible, a human voice. If accounts are accurate, it was the first time sound itself had been transmitted wirelessly over long distance to multiple listeners. Not point to point, but outward, into open air. Yet history is rarely simple. Some credit Charles Herrold, who began regular voice broadcasts in 1909. Others point to Leader Forrest, whose work helped shape early radio transmission and amplification. The story of the first depends on how we define it. First experiment, first verified transmission, first sustained broadcast. Innovation does not happen in a single moment. It unfolds, layer by layer, signal by signal. What is certain is this: radio changed scale. Communication was no longer one-to-one. It became one-to-many. One voice, reaching thousands, then millions, then entire nations. Organizations like the BBC would soon broadcast news across countries. Companies like RCA would manufacture receivers for homes. Families gathered around wooden cabinets, waiting, listening, for the world. Wars were announced, music premiered, leaders addressed entire populations at once. For the first time in history, millions could experience the same moment together, in real time. Radio did not just send information, it created shared presence, a voice from nowhere. No visible source, no messenger, just invisible waves carrying human thought across distance. Today we stream instantly. We carry global communication in our pockets. But the shift began with static, with sparks, with 3 clicks across the Atlantic, the letter S, a signal that bent beyond the horizon, and proved that distance no longer meant silence. Even what we call the first can change with a rediscovered experiment or a reinterpreted claim. Science does not defend certainty, it refines it. What we recognize as the first radio broadcast may not be the final word. Earlier signals may have gone undocumented. Competing pioneers may deserve recognition. Debate still exists. That is not a flaw in history. It is its strength. So if this sparked something in you, follow the signal, read further, explore competing accounts. Examinations of Marconi, Fessenden, Herrold, and De Forest tell overlapping stories. And if you've seen or heard anything here that you believe is incomplete, debated, or even wrong, say so. Conversation sharpens understanding. After all, radio itself was born from rivalry, from experimentation, from ideas striking against one another across invisible waves. Knowledge is not transmitted once. It is broadcast, questioned, refined, repeated, layer by layer. And somewhere, in forgotten notebooks or overlooked archives, there may still be an earlier voice waiting to be heard. Until then, this was the first radio, and this is the first, where knowledge is random, but curiosity is not. Thank you for listening. Join us next time as we explore another beginning.